How we doing today, y'all? My name is Caleb Cantu. This is Caleb's Corner. Welcome back. I'm very excited to welcome y'all back to a very spooky episode of Caleb's Corner. Today we're going to be talking about the Haunting of Bly Manor. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot begin to tell you how much I am not truly a fan of scary things, right? Let me just whisper something in y'all's ear real quick. I don't like it. I don't. I really don't like scary things, y'all. Like, people go out of their way to watch scary movies. They go out of their way to watch scary things, right? They go to haunted houses. Like, I can do a haunted house because I know that it's fake, and I know that the actors are just there getting paid, and I don't necessarily mind watching scary things, right? But that stuff's real, you know. A majority of the stuff is real. Okay, let's get that out of context. I watch scary things, right? I like thrillers, I like suspenseful things, but anything having to do with spirits, hauntings, relatedness, like I'm not the guy. Okay, I'm not. First sign of a haunting, I'm dipping. There's no question about it. We are out of here, right? We're not even waiting to investigate what's going on. We're just gone. So that being said, watching the show was definitely a new experience for me as I went out of my way to watch it, as I was the one who was like, yeah, you know, spooky season, Caleb's Corner, episode 3, let's go. We got through it, though. That's all I can say. We binged it in a weekend, right? It was that good. That's how scary it actually wasn't. It's not scary to where you have to close your eyes and you just can't watch. No, it's I wouldn't call it a family friendly film, but I would say that it's a toned down version of a lot of other supernatural scary movies, and it's stretched out over 9 episodes, which I can appreciate, because anything that's stretched out is going to give you time to breathe, right? It's going to give you time to take a breath, to just relax a little bit and not just go boom, 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 scary, 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 scary. I don't like that. I need time to breathe. I know a lot of people who don't like comedy relief in scary films because they think that like it should just be straight scariness. But personally, as someone who needs comedy relief, or as someone who needs a breather every now and then, it's very helpful to have that and to, you know, take into consideration what is happening around you. And that being said, I really enjoyed the film. I binged it in a weekend, and I'm recording this episode today to talk to you all about it. That being said, let's go ahead and get into it. The show itself is the recounting of a story, right? And it tells about the story of this American au pair who is tasked with taking care and raising, if you will, these 2 orphaned children, recently orphaned. They just lost their parents to a terrible car accident. And what's even worse is that these children are so young. The boy is 11 years old and the little sister is 8 years old, right? And there's a certain sadness to losing your parents. And at that young an age, it should just never happen. It should just never happen. And it changes you. Absolutely. So I wouldn't know from personal experience, but I've known people. And it's just, it changes. It sticks with you. And that being said, this American au pair wanted to go into their lives and make a difference, make a positive difference and make a change. And that's a beautiful, admirable trait. And you can't help but want what's best for everybody involved. You can't help but want what's best for the nanny. You can't help but want what's best for the children, for the help, for the housekeeper. Everybody there is just so kind and so sweet. And you would think that this terribly sad event would affect these children in a way that was detrimental and would make them sad and angry and outspoken and just upset with the world, and with every right to be. But they're not. In fact, these children are delightful, you know, and you can't help but fall in love with them and want what's best for them. And as you watch the show, you you find that there's more and more wrong with the kids, right? You find that there's more and more wrong, and you find that there's more and more wrong with the au pair. And it's crazy because they're each going through their own experience, their own supernatural experience, right? It's the Haunting of Bly Manor, guys. That's a given. Let's just go ahead and get that out there. It's spooky season. There are ghosts in this show. I shouldn't even need to say that. Haunting. I mean, come on, guys. It's scary. So that being said, it's crazy to me that the show is incredibly well written in the fact that every character kind of has their own battle and inner monologue going on, and that we all go through our own things. I don't know what what you guys are going through, and you guys don't know what I'm going through as I'm recording this show. But what we give to each other and what we allow each other to see is really what we think is the best part of ourselves, or even what we can't control sometimes. And the show does an excellent job of displaying that in everybody, and that it shows this incredible depth and vagueness to every character, and then fills and answers that vagueness. And all of it is connected. All of it is connected. And that they do a really good job of making sure that that well-written connection is evident throughout the entire show. And I think that the best connection is, of course, between the children, right, and the au pair. And without getting too much into it, I think that the au pair is probably the kindest, bravest soul in the entire show. And thank God for that au pair being in those children's life, because who knows where they would be without her, right? But let's go ahead and get into some of the better reasons as to why that show was so good, in my opinion. Like, the first thing is, as I said already, the story is incredibly well written. I mean, the dialogue that they have is extremely funny. It's witty. Everything kind of ties into each other from first episode to last episode. All the sentences said, all the syntax given is extremely well done, and it provides so much reasoning for everything. It's fantastic. Not to mention that this is a British show, right? So there's British humor in it, and that it's dry, and that it's sarcastic, and that it's kind of satirical. And British humor is very underrated, in my opinion. I don't think people understand it, and they're so dismissive of it. And that shouldn't be the case, you know? And it's also funny to me that the au pair is American, because in and of itself, that word is French. And then secondly, it's hilarious to see the way that these British people interact with this American woman. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is aware of this, but Americans are pretty universally hated around the world. We are not at all in the position that we were 60 to 70 years ago, where even then, like, we weren't the most popular nation in the world. We are kind of the imbeciles of the world, I would say, especially these days, you know, with everything going on. But it's definitely just so funny to see the way that these Americans, like, low-key roast her. One of the funniest parts of the show is that the American au pair, who's named Danny Clayton, played by Victoria Pedretti, doesn't know how to make tea. That she's straight rubbish at making tea. And in terms like rubbish, you know, bloody hell, terms like perfectly splendid, oh, that's delightful, oh, what an exquisite. Just being British kind of brings about this vocabulary that you wouldn't normally use in America. In America, all of the dialogue is like, totes, cool, see you later. Everything's real shortened down. And in Britain, it's not shortened down. Everything is long. Everything is exquisite. It's distinguished. Everything is said the way that it's supposed to, because that's the English, you know, proper English. And I love that. And all of the characters being British is great. The second thing that I really enjoyed about the show is the relationships that the characters have. I mean, you're introduced to these characters and you fall in love with them. You really do, because they are great. They're kind and they're wholehearted people. And it's only the kind and wholehearted people that Supernatural are drawn to, right? Because they're so angry, they're so hurt, they're so broken that their soul has stayed behind, and it's captivated and engulfed everything around them. It's this magnetic electric vortex of just disparity and suckiness. And that's why you can't help but feel for the people in the show as the events take place, because every time you're just screaming, "What are you doing? Why are you walking there?" Or, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing that," knowing full well like something bad's about to happen. And you're screaming at the television going, "Guys, please walk away from there. Walk away from the closet." And you can't, you just lose your mind, because how can someone be so dumb and just unaware? Like I said, guys, I'm running. The first sign of a scary haunting, we are gone. We are in and out of the wind. There is no investigating. There's no second questions. We are, "Oh, that seems scary. See ya. I'm gone." Because like I said, guys, that stuff is real. Like you don't play around with that stuff. You don't play around with that stuff, or else it will straight up get you. There are forces at work that are stronger than you. I don't care if you believe in that. I don't care if that is something that kind of makes you uncomfortable, because guess what? If it happens to you, you're going to be more than uncomfortable. You'll be dead. So it's just not even worth it, which is why I normally don't watch these kinds of films and this genre in general. But spooky season 2020, I figured we'd give it a shot, and it was a good shot because the character relationships are just they're so good, y'all. I mean, my favorite relationship is between Owen and the housekeeper. Her name is Hannah Gross. They are adorable. Owen is played by Raul Coley. I love Raul. He was in iZombie. He was a fantastic actor in that show. He's also been in a popular YouTube channel called Funhouse, a part of Rooster Teeth. They're based out of Austin. It is so fun to see them interact because he's a funny actor. He's a great man, and I'm so glad that he's finally getting some recognition in a big old show like this. And it's number 6 on Netflix's top 10 at the moment. And I think it's great when underrated actors finally get the credit that they deserve. So shout out to Raul. Happy you're out there doing big things, bro. But yeah, his relationship with Hannah Gross, who is played by this beautiful young woman named Tiana Miller. She is, I believe it's Tanaya. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but I tried my best. It is an excellent relationship that is developed in episode 1, kindred all the way into episode 10. And as with all tragedies, hurts. It hurts. I won't give any more details other than you can't help but feel so deeply for the characters. You just can't. I really enjoyed this film, y'all. I cried watching this show. The quality is just so good. Like, you really want what's best for these people. You truly do. And at the end of the show, you may not be satisfied with everything that you get, but that's not what the purpose of the show is. The purpose of the show isn't to satisfy you. It's a recounting of a story. It's the Haunting of Bly Manor. You have to take into consideration that not everything ends with rainbows and daisies, right? But the relationships, the time that you spend with people, the things that matter most, those things are what provide a warmth and a clarity in the absolute craziness and scariness of it all. It's a really safe place, and I enjoyed that the character development did that, you know. Also enjoyed the relationship between the children and the au pair, because these children have been through it. I mean, they really shouldn't have had to see the things that they've seen at that young an age. Nobody should have to see the things that they've seen or go through the things that they go through, especially not that young. But the way that these children are handling it is amazing. You know, these children are perfectly splendid, and they think that this Nan is going to be their own Poppins, their very own Mary Poppins, because they have this excitement and wonder in the world that isn't lost to them yet, even though everything has been taken from them. And you just see them gradually lose themselves in the area, lose themselves in the show, and lose themselves and the grief and sadness of it all, and you don't know why, and you can't help but wonder. And the show does an excellent job of allowing you to take leaps and make assumptions without giving everything away, and then completely blowing your mind out of the water, right? It just completely blows your mind because you don't understand until you finally understand. And once you understand and once they give you that context, you're like, oh my gosh, this all makes sense. This is crazy. This all makes sense. And they do a really good job of tying everything together. That being said, I think the acting is monumental in this show. They could not have accomplished what they did without the acting. I mean, everybody played an excellent part. The children, they killed their roles. I'm not sure if this were their first roles ever, but to be that young and to be that skilled, it's straight talent, right? Like, you don't have a lot of time or even knowledge or motivation to hone that skill, but some of these scenes are just so intense and sad and happy that you can't call it anything other than skill. These children do an excellent job of making you just like want to pick them up and take care of them. And at other times, get a gun and blow them away because they're creepy and they're inviting and they're scary, but safe. You know, the show does an excellent job of making you feel a million different things at once. And you never know what to feel either. You don't know who's on what side or what's going on. It's really scary. But the reason you don't know what's going on is because the acting is so well done. I mean, I can't believe how good the acting is. Every character, as I said, has a particular depth to them, and every character has a particular context and reason for why they're even there and what they're doing there and why they carry themselves the way that they do. And when you understand why each character is the way that they are, everything makes sense because everything isn't meant to make sense at first. And I don't want to provide a clarity that you shouldn't already have, because this show is absolutely worth watching for that clarity. It's an excellent amount of, oh, wow, they did it like that? Man, that's cool. Because that's how I felt like a majority of the time watching the show was, wow. That's how I felt. I was in straight awe of the direction of the acting. As someone who is an actor, or someone who's done theater, you can't help but just be enamored with somebody else's talent. The children's talent, the actress's talent, and I have to give it up to Victoria Berthoretti, who plays Danny Clayton, the American au pair. She kills the roles that she's in. So if you don't know that name already, you might have already seen her in season 2 of You. She kills that show. And if you are familiar with her work, you'll know why. It's because she has a face that's just so expressive. She has a face that just, it tells you everything you need to know. And she can't hide her emotions. She can't hide her emotions. And that's a pivotal part of the show, because she's going through her own stress and her own trauma while not only trying to teach these children and help them with their own stress and their own trauma, but things just keep happening and things just keep coming up, and she doesn't know how to deal with it, but she's doing the best that she can, and she's doing it in a calm, but her face exposing all of her emotions, freaked out way. And it can't help but make you feel like you're calm, but you're freaked out. You're on the edge of your seat the entire time. And she does an excellent job of making you feel those emotions. So for those reasons, I think you should watch this show, because it is definitely a show that keeps you enticed. It's a show that keeps you engaged the entire time, and it makes you want to finish that cliffhanger. And if you take a break from it, that's cool, guys, because I finished the show in a weekend, and I probably shouldn't have done that because it was scary. And I'm not saying I'm going to get nightmares or anything, and you guys won't either, hopefully, but it was definitely just a weird, scary environment. And I personally just don't feel like filling myself up with that kind of vibe the entire time. So if you're gonna watch it, I would say, take it like an actual show. Maybe give it a couple days between episodes, but definitely give it a try. The show itself is excellent, right? Caleb out here would probably give it a strong 8 out of 10 on Caleb's Corner. I'm going to go ahead and be strong on that 8. It was really well done, just not my cup of tea. It brought a scary and sinister plot to life with jump scares and built-up tension that provide this scary ambiguity and some really frightening moments without completely turning you off from the show and making you scared. So that was something that they did an excellent job of, is keeping you along for the ride the entire time, but without making you just want to jump out and roll on the concrete a bunch because it's too much to handle. It's not that at all. It's a toned down version of the scary supernatural stuff that they've done in the past, and I'm really excited for season 2, even though I probably shouldn't watch it because, like I said, I don't really enjoy scary things, but it's a good scary. It's a nice little intensity, and spooky season 2020, y'all. Go out there and enjoy it. Today's the last day of October. It's Halloween, right? Start the show before it's too late while we still got some spooky season in us. That being said, this is Caleb's Corner. I am Caleb Cantu, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.